Thank you all so much for being here for the first annual Cast It Forward event. I'm still kind of in disbelief at this first class event put together by the Post and Courier. I'd like to just take a minute, and I want to thank them, starting with Pamela Browning, the publisher of the Post and Courier. I don't know where she is, but thank you, Pam. And the amazing event staff that we've worked with for about 5 months putting this thing together. I just want to call them out to thank them. Chris Zeller, Ashley McGee, Misty Simons, Campbell Cornelson, and Allison Warburton. Thank you all so much. What a great event this is going to be. And it's just the first year, so really excited. Thank you. And what a great venue. Thanks to Firefly Distillery. I can't imagine a better facility to have this event at. So I want to talk a little bit about Release Over 20. Release Over 20 is a brand new nonprofit corporation, still in startup phase. And I want to share the stage and introduce it to my partners, Carrie Browning and Adam Farrer. And thank you. I'm very grateful for their willingness to be involved. And we're going to work together to build and grow this organization. Our mission is to influence anglers to follow personal catch and creel limits more restrictive than the law allows by using rewards, positive reinforcement, and facts backed by scientific research. There's a lot to unpack in that statement, but it says everything about what we're trying to accomplish. At its core, we're in the business of changing mindsets of conservation and doing so with a carrot, not a stick. Release Over 20 started as a passion project a little under 2 years ago. It's since quickly grown into almost a household name among anglers all along the eastern seaboard from Texas to New York. It's likely that our reach is far beyond even what we know based on feedback we've received. Here's why it's become so popular. We anglers really care about our fishery, and we're worried about its future based on trends we see on the water. The pressure on our fisheries is increasing at an exponential rate. As each year we have more anglers armed with better knowledge and technologies to be successful. Combined with that, we have decreasing habitat and pollution caused by runoff, and as we continue to build near the water, state and federal regulations just aren't keeping pace. But at the same time, we don't really want to see more regulations either. Unfortunately, the desire to keep a limit is still very prevalent, but it's not sustainable. What we observe on the water is real. It's reflected in scientific data coming in from electrofishing and travel net surveys by our DNR and others around the country. I have personally tagged and released a redfish and had it recaptured 4 times. That proves that catch and release works, but it also demonstrates the pressure our fishery is under. I often wonder how many fish that I catch without a tag was previously released and how many times. Release Over 20 is a way for all of us to make an impact today without waiting for a law to change. While there are many ways to regulate fisheries, following a chosen upper slot is a very simple and immediately effective way to make a difference. This way, overslot fish are free to spawn and repopulate for several years, and as a result, we have more trophy-sized fish to catch. Isn't that pretty awesome? Who doesn't love more trophy-sized fish? And if enough of us do it voluntarily, maybe we don't even need a law. We're trying to incentivize releasing by requesting releases entered into a database on our website, releaseover20.org. Each entry has the option to receive up to 3 decals free, and each entry improves chances to win our monthly giveaways. We currently have 34 very high-profile corporate sponsors who've generously donated samples of their products for us to give away to participants just for practicing conservation. To date, we've given away thousands of dollars worth of prizes, and to maximize transparency, our giveaways are done live, and each participant truly has a chance to win. We're committed to be a positive presence on social media. We will continue to celebrate those who are making an effort to release their fish and plan to work with SCDNR and other like-minded professionals in the future to create content to educate about best practices. We're helping to educate the public about fisheries biology using facts based on scientific research to influence why we should be releasing big fish. A little story. A couple years ago, I had a great season of catching big flounder. I kept them all, and we had some delicious dinners at the Fladd family. They can acknowledge. I thought the population was healthier than ever based on my personal results. When I heard a few presentations by SCDNR, I was shocked to learn that the population has been on a 30-year steady decline. I also learned that every keeper-sized flounder is female, a fact I had no idea about. Should we be surprised the numbers are on decline when we are removing all the females? These facts significantly changed my opinion on keeping flounder, and I started releasing over 20 for flounder as a result. In fact, I release almost all my flounder now. And it turns out most bigger fish are female. A few facts about speckled trout. It's very rare to have a male trout over 20 inches. If you catch one and it croaks, it's a very old fish. Therefore, a 20-inch trout is likely female, approximately 4 years old, and quite rare. How rare? If you start at year 0 with 1,000 trout, only 8 will remain after 4 years. Another interesting fact, egg production by trout increases exponentially with length. A 20-inch female trout spawns approximately 20 million eggs a season, and wouldn't we want to propagate those survivor genes to future generations? And a little fact about sheep's head, like most of us as they age, they stop growing longer, they just get fatter. And did you know that an 18-inch sheep's head is about 5 years old, but a 20-inch sheep's head is about 10 years old? That's a fact I had no idea about either. Since April 2020 and through yesterday, we have documented releases through our database of 5,121 speckled trout, 108 flounder, and 47 sheep's head over 20 inches. Thank you. Although flounder and sheep's head have not been included in our program for as long as trout, the releases per month are much lower. It's much more difficult to convince anglers to release high food value fish, although there are plenty of compelling reasons to do so. And to be clear, we're not asking anglers to release all their fish, but rather the big ones. Fun fact, if we count only the trout officially entered in our program and assume they were only 20 inches, of course, many entered are over 20 inches, but if we just assume they're 20 and only for one spawning season, that equates to approximately 102 billion eggs spawned. In the future, we plan to add more species to be officially recognized by release over 20, as they make sense to do so. We also plan to extend incentives for anglers to do the right thing as resources permit. Sorry. I'll finish with a quotation that perfectly applies to release over 20 from the legendary conservationist Aldo Leopold. Ethical behavior is doing the right thing when no one else is watching, even when doing the wrong thing is legal. Lastly, I'd just like to acknowledge and thank our sponsors, our speakers, social media influencers, our vendors, Tideline Magazine, the SC Department of Natural Resources, and Redfin Charters for making this day possible. Thank you all for being here, supporting our cause. I'm going to hand the mic over to my partner, Carrie and Adam. Thank you.
I'm not a technical guy at all. These two guys are extremely technical. I'm not a technical guy at all, but David, thank you for inviting me on. Kevin Jackson, this last spring in April, we were sitting on my porch. My daughter was there, and we were having hamburgers with MJ and some folks, and we were talking about release over 20, and when I didn't know David Fladd, I think Kevin had met him a couple of times maybe, but we were saying, what can we do to help him? I know he's running this thing on a shoestring, so how can we help him? And we thought, well, maybe we could do an auction out at our little cabin in Allendale. And my daughter was like, Dad, you do YouTube. She said, you know some YouTubers. And I was like, yeah. And she goes, you need to get a bunch of influencers there to where, or get influencers to spread the word about this. Well, it's gone from having 50 to 100 people out at our cabin to this right here, and I'm blown away. I really am blown away. Post and Courier's done a great job. Thank you to so many of these vendors that have been out here. They're out here now, and to all you folks that are coming. I just want to say thanks so much. Our first meeting, we met, 3 months ago or something like that at the Post and Courier. And I'm sitting there with the tablet, and I'm looking around, and everybody's got, and when I say tablet, I mean notebook that you write in, right? Because like I say, I'm not a technical guy. And I look up at David, and he's smirking, and I'm like, what? And he was laughing, he goes, is that a carpenter's pencil? And I look down at my hand, I'm like, well, yeah, that's what I had in my truck. So anyway, I just want to thank all of you guys, every one of you. I'm just blown away, like I say. Adam, do you want to say anything? Adam's also on my boat all the time, and we, that 20-inch, I was carving those big girls up. I didn't know any better. And Adam was telling me, have you heard about release over 20? And was telling me here's the only technical thing I can tell you, and David's already said it, but a 20-inch trout will lay at least 20 million eggs a year. And after that, I just couldn't carve them up anymore. And so it's just, this thing's just, I'm so proud to be part of this team. Thank you all.